Hello and welcome. Welcome to Miss Brenda with another perspective. Proverbs, the third chapter, through the fifth and through the seventh verse. It says to trust in the Lord with all of our hearts and to lean not to our own understanding, but in all of our ways to acknowledge Him, and He would direct our paths. Well, the path that I want to leave today behind and talk to you about is what path, what legacy will we leave behind for our children? We need to really think about all of the rhetoric in the land, the policies that's being passed, the procedures and policies that must be followed in the workforce today. What policies and what procedures will affect our children? Yes, they have to grow up. And yes, they are our tomorrows. They are our future. And yes, they will be the leaders of our tomorrows. And it is very important that the path that they are on and that the legacy that is left behind for them is that of one of following the Lord. It says to acknowledge Him and to trust Him, and He would direct our paths. Well, if we look around today and the things that we're seeing, we understand the path that the world is leaving behind. And we understand that the path that they feel that is a good path to leave behind in the schools and the different rhetoric and the different material that they feel that children should be confronted with today. Well, I want to leave that with you today, and that is, what legacy will we leave behind for our children and our grandchildren? Yes, many of us work in particular jobs and organizations and institutions that we see changing. We see the culture of it changing. We hear the information. We read the different articles. We see the different policies and procedures that have been changing. We are admonished to read the different materials that is being a part of the workforce today. If you work for any company or whatever institution or organization, you understand the policies and the procedures that are coming across today in the different organizations. So we understand clearly where the battle is. But the legacy that I'm talking about is the legacy for our children. And that legacy is trusting in God and leaning not to our own understanding, trusting in God with all of our hearts and leaning not to our own understanding, but in all of our ways acknowledging Him, and He will direct our paths. That's the path that we want to leave for our children and our grandchildren, and for children all over the world. They will be faced with our tomorrows. They will be faced with the different policies and the different things that are happening today, with the culture in the land and the atmosphere in the schools. That is what they will be faced with, even now as I speak today. But our goal is to make sure that we are admonishing them in the things of God. And as much as we can, as much as it is within us, and not breaking the law of the land, but admonishing them in the things of God, wherever we're at, wherever the time might be, but doing it in an humble spirit and with an humble heart. That's the times that we're in. And that's the legacy we want to leave for our children. So I leave this with you today to think about the legacy for our children that will be left behind and the legacy that we want to leave behind for the children and our grandchildren and our children's children and so on and so forth. They are innocent and their little eyes and their ears are partaking in things that if we could shudder, we would shudder in our skin and within us. That is what we are partaking in and seeing across the land in different areas, in different cities, in different places that are being asked to admonish them in a way that is most destructive. What do we want to leave behind? Fruits of righteousness, and not the thing that the enemy can take to destroy their lives, destruction and death. And that is the thing that the enemy would have. But God would say they would have life and that more abundantly, and that they would not be exposed to the things that could cause them eternal destruction. And that's the word I want to leave today. And that is, again, what legacy do we want to leave behind for our children and our grandchildren and for children all over the land? Thank you, and God bless you. Subscribe, hit like. This is Miss Brenda with another perspective. God bless you and good night.